What is Appalachia to me? When I think about Appalachia, I think about all of my childhood memories. I think about the things that my great-grandmother used to tell me about her life. She would tell me different things and different ways that she had to live. And when I think about Appalachia, I think about the mountains. And I don't just think that it's just a place. It's definitely a lifestyle. I think Appalachia is the perfect combination that anybody can do anything. It is definitely a big melting pot of different kinds of traditions. You may think of people as your neighbor to the left of you being serpent-handling churchgoers, and your neighbors to the right of you can be moonshiners headed off to the woods to collect their moonshine to make their income for the year. To me, Appalachia is more than just a region, it's a state of mind. In Central Appalachia, we're described as the poverty pocket of America. We're ranked 37 out of 100 for the poorest counties in the USA. And just to think that 45% of the population that lives in Appalachia lives in extreme poverty. Many children and people go without adequate food, medical care, bedding, housing, and clothing. We're trying to get different groups started that will help diminish these problems. Shelby Lee Adams is an environmental photographer. He shows all the different poverty that strikes Appalachia every day. He's an Appalachian native himself. He is from Hazard, Kentucky, and he doesn't mind going back to his hometown and to the hollers to show everybody in the world what it's like to live in Appalachia. He shows all the poverty pictures that some people like to shy away from, and Shelby Lee Adams definitely gets a lot of harsh commentary for some of the images that he takes. Some people think that it's rude and disrespectful to show people in this sort of way, but to him, it's just showing the life that he grew up in. It doesn't mean that he hates Appalachia or is making fun of Appalachia. I personally wouldn't want to take pictures like this, but Shelby definitely paints a good portrait of Appalachia. He shows the negative things that people might not want to admit that is in Appalachia. He goes to the poverty places and just shows how people still live today and what kind of area that we live in. Most people think that Shelby is trying to portray the images in the most ridiculing way possible, but I think that he is just showing exactly how he feels about these people. Things that have helped the economy in Appalachia would be things like moonshining, coal mining, and even logging. Moonshining has always been a big part of Appalachia. It all began when everybody was poverty-stricken and they were trying to make money, even though it was highly illegal and very dangerous if you didn't make the batch right. People really wanted out of poverty. Moonshining is definitely a way that's a tradition. Families still today use this tradition and are even opening up distilleries legally. When you think about Appalachia, you can't help but just mention moonshine. It's been a big part of Appalachia. And not to mention, it was the start of NASCAR, which is something that's very big in our area. Even though moonshining was definitely dangerous for families, it actually made them tighter because they were tied together in a family of secrets, trying to get the moonshine out so that way they could make their yearly income. Even though people think of moonshining as something that's negative, it could have been portrayed as negative if somebody in your family might have died from moonshining, but it did help out a lot for the poverty aspects. Logging was something that was very known in Appalachia. Even though it was terrible for the land, it was good for the people because it brought money into the area. I think that a lot of people in Appalachia can understand that we definitely have a lot of unique culinary experiences due to the hard times. Nothing ever went to waste, and there was always something that we could do to extend what little we had. Appalachian cuisine is something that when you grow up poor, you take what you can get, and you make the most out of it. For coal miners, they used their scrip, and they had to owe the coal operators whatever they used. So you might get things like lard, sugar, and flour. So you would have to make meals out of that for weeks. A lot of things that everybody used in Appalachia was whatever that they could grow. Anything that they could grow, they could eat. So when the coal miners brought everything that they bought with their scrip, you would hope that you had grew enough in your garden to make up for what you were lacking. In Saving Grace, we learned a lot about the serpent-handling churches in Appalachian region. Since Bristol is located in the Bible Belt region, I think it's hard for us not to mention something about all of the serpent handling. It's something that's quite popular in the Appalachian region and still lives throughout the region today. This is definitely a tradition that many people are born into, and of course some people will convert. I think that this practice is still mainly used today because in Appalachia we pride ourselves in holding on to our traditions from our families, no matter how dangerous they may seem to others. So where exactly is Appalachia? It starts from the bottom of New York all the way down to Alabama and Mississippi. Before taking this course, I never realized how far Appalachia truly was. I think when people think about Appalachia, they just think about Central Appalachia, more Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina area. I don't think that they include New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Alabama, or Mississippi. Although Appalachia is a region, I definitely think it's a lifestyle, it's a tradition, it's just a way of life.